and welcome back to the Handy Outdoorsman. As you can see here, I've been kind of busy putting things back onto the tractor, and we are just about ready to get it started. I've gone ahead and put on new starter, new wiring, pretty much everything that can be replaced new was put on. In fact, one thing here is I put an alternator on versus a generator. So I converted this over to a 12-volt system. So that's all done. One thing that I need to get is a tube that runs from the front to the back that the spark plug wires and the alternator wire runs into, so that as it comes down into the front here, that it doesn't get caught between the blade or gets hooked onto the fan. So I've just got some tie wraps in place here, and I've got them going all the way back to keep things tidy. I've got to come back and cut the tails off, but for right now it'll keep things out of the way and safe. This is what I did before when I gave it a tune-up, and it worked pretty well. So I'll just continue to do that until I'm able to find a tube to put the wires in. But yeah, we're just about done here. We've got all the paint. This is a temporary gas setup. I've got some gas poured into that funnel that'll feed the carburetor, so that when we get ready to fire it up, she's got gas. I didn't want to put the gas tank on, but we're real close. So let me go ahead and get things set up so that we can give this thing a start. So hopefully she'll start right up.
Yeah, buddy.
Not good. I don't have any oil pressure. So today I talked to a mechanic who works specifically on these Ford tractors, very knowledgeable man, and he had given me some pointers on what could be causing my low oil pressure. He had indicated that it could be one of three things. One being the oil relief valve, which is in the front of the tractor. It's actually right here behind beside the water pump. It's a bolt that you can reach in there. That's the oil relief valve. And he had indicated that the tip of it needs to be really rounded, and that can wear over time. That's one. Number two is that the oil pump has gone bad, and number three, the oil pickup tube has a hairline crack in it, or it's loose where it goes into the pump. Now, I had replaced the oil relief valve. That's brand new, and I had rebuilt the oil pump itself. But the only thing I didn't replace out of those three is the oil pickup tube. And let me show you what that looks like. So this is the oil pickup tube. This end here connects to the oil pump, and then this tube goes down into the oil pan, and right here is where you screw in your oil drain plug with the filter on it. Right up here at the top, it's brazed, and this is where he is indicating that I've got some kind of leak. It's loose. And you know what? Now, after he had mentioned that, I remember that I could take this tube and turn it ever so slightly inside once it was assembled. So that lets me know that I'm picking up air here, and then that's not soldered or brazed down there tightly. I went ahead and picked up another one today.
just because I don't have the equipment to braze. And to solder it, I was thinking that I have to get this super clean of all the grease and all the oil, and it's going to take a while. So I just stopped by a place that sells parts to these tractors and picked this up. So this is what we're going to replace tonight, because the other two things he had mentioned I've already replaced. This tube I did not, so I'm hoping that this is the case. Now, in order to get to the oil pump, it's actually down in the oil pan. This is not zooming in very well the way I wanted it to. So I have to drop the oil pan in order to get to that particular tube. Now, one thing that on this particular tractor, in order to drop the oil pan, you have to take off the front end. So that's what I've done now, is I've supported the back half of the tractor. I've got the tires barely touching the ground, and all I'm going to do is take off the tie rod, the suspension rods, and the radiator, and then this will move forward, and then I'm able to get down here and remove the oil pan. So let me go ahead and get that done, and then I'll drop the oil pan and bring you back and show you exactly what I'm talking about on the engine. Pull the front end away from the engine, and as you can see, the front end attaches via 6 bolts right here into the oil pan. So that's one of the reasons why you have to pull the front end in order to drop the oil pan. And as I was taking this apart, I was actually unloosening these 6 bolts down here, and then now I'm in here where I can, well, maybe I am, where I can show you where this oil relief valve is, and it's right here, and it's a 7/16 inch bolt, if I can get it to focus here, and it's right in front of the timing cover. Yeah, right in front of the timing cover. And so I went through and I went through all my old parts, because I haven't thrown anything away yet. And this is what goes in front of it. This is the valve with the spring, and when you take that bolt out, this slides right inside there, and there should be enough pressure on that bolt when you go to put it in that it's very hard to turn, because this is pushing out. I'd already replaced that, but I wanted to show what went inside the oil relief valve. This is what it is. And the tip, again, my camera's not focusing very well, should be rounded with just a small flat on the top. And you can see here, this might be good. I don't know, I didn't leave it in the tractor. When I was buying new parts, I went ahead and bought a new one of those. So that's what goes in front. Now let me go ahead and drop this oil pan and take the oil pump off. So I just got the oil pan dropped off of the engine, and as you can see here, this is where the oil pickup tube sits in the oil pan itself. And actually the center of this pickup here goes around the screen of your oil plug. As you put your oil plug in, there's a screen on it, and this pickup valve sits right on top of that. But what we're thinking the problem is that this tube is loose, and sure enough, if I can, I don't know if the camera's going to pick up on it, but this moves back and forth. Just enough for that to be loose right here at that joint. I might get the camera to focus. Having a hard time with this one. So that's why I went ahead and just picked up a brand new one. And on the end of this new one here, you can see that it's all, let me get it in the light where you can see that it's all brazed all the way around, and it's nice and tight. So I'll just put this new pickup tube onto the oil pump, and hopefully that'll fix my problem. But before I do that, what the mechanic suggested I do is actually take this oil pump off, this bearing off, because this oil pump is connected to one of the main bearings that you see here. Let me see if I can get a picture of it. It's right there. So the oil pump is part of the front main bearing cap that goes on to the crankshaft. And it's a gear-driven pump. So he suggested I take that off and make sure that that pump is pumping by putting this head down into a bucket of oil and then spinning the gears to make sure it's picking up. And I've gone this far, I might as well see if that is my problem just to make sure. So let me do that. I'm going to go ahead and take this complete oil pump off, put it in a bucket of oil and spin the gears to see if it'll spit out some oil and see if that indeed was my issue. So what I have in this bucket is I have my original oil pump housing. However, I've rebuilt the oil pump itself. It's got a new gear here, it's got the new gears inside just like I showed a moment ago, and it's got a new pickup tube. So what I should be able to do is take my drill and spin this gear at a high RPM, and oil should come out here, this is the spot where it connects up into the crankshaft and distributes oil throughout the engine. So when I turn this, oil should come out of here. So as you can see, I got no oil coming out of here. Again, everything is brand new, put in. It seemed to fit just fine. I didn't have any of the 16ths or 32nds or even 64th issues with the gears fitting on the top. That fit fine, not a problem. Now, this is the oil pump that I picked up. That's, as you can tell, much older. You know, it's got grease kind of built up on it. The pickup tube looks like it's been soldered at some point. It's right there in the center. However, it's not been taken apart. It looks to be having everything original. So again, when I spin this gear, oil should come out of here. So within just a couple of seconds after putting the drill on it, you know, oil is pumping through there. So if you're going to rebuild your oil pump, I'd go ahead and check it like this first before I put it back onto the tractor. Because if it's not pumping oil out of here, and if you have to prime it every time, then there's an issue. So just something to think about when you're redoing an oil pump on a Ford N-Series tractor. All right, I just got this all back together here, so let me see if I got any oil pressure. Got it up there. It runs. All right, I just adjusted the valves and the lifters, and that tick has gone away. It's going to get a little loud, but it runs great. Got some adjusting to do on the governor, but other than that, she's ready to be put back together fully. So let me put the hood and the gas tank on this and take her for a test spin. Well, as you can see, it runs. I'm very satisfied with the results. The engine, in my opinion, it runs great. Got a little bit more tuning to do on the governor, but overall, I'm very satisfied with the results. My intentions when I started out was just to get her running and to work out a couple of kinks in the engine. I did not plan on doing a complete restore. And though some may consider this not a complete restore as the tractor is not brought back to its originality, I don't particularly care for the dark gray that this color would have, or that this tractor would have come in. So I painted it the color that I like. So not a complete restoration, if you will, to its originality, but I do love the results. So we're done with the tractor. We now have a tool that we can use to go ahead and help us on our next adventure. So as always, I thank you for joining me, for your comments. I hope that you were able to learn something, and that you're able to encourage you to do something a little bit out of your comfort zone, as this definitely was out of mine. But as always, thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Take care, and God bless.